of Proverbs 31 says that the Proverbs 31 woman wakes up while it is still dark. She provides food for her family and portions for her servant girls. And elsewhere it says that when it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. Those are just some of the verses that indicate to us that this is a woman whom the Lord helped to plan so that she wouldn't be harassed or overtaken by events when it came to taking care of her household. We are looking at meal prepping for your family and really as a homeschooling family. How do we do it? So that we can save on time, we can save on money, and we can have time to do the more important things when it comes to raising our children. I want to give us some few breakfast ideas or meals that we work with, that I pray that as you continue along, you will be blessed by this video, ministered to, and also I trust the Lord incorporate some of the ideas just to make your own journey a blessing. You may not necessarily be a homeschooling family like I always say, but I know you might be blessed by some of these ideas, and I pray that they will be a blessing. I'm also walking along this journey of meal prepping as I give you 10 tips, or are they principles, that would be helpful for you as you think about meal prepping, meal planning, so that you can be more effective and fruitful as you manage your household. Welcome to Formations of a Noble Woman. This is a channel where we share matters womanhood and a woman, seeking the mind of God concerning the same, so that you and I can align our lives to His will and purpose. If you're new here, consider subscribing and just hit that notification bell. Then you'll be notified every time I upload new content. Yes, we want to look at that topic as I introduced, but of course, as is always our custom, we will pray, because it's God who gives wisdom, creativity, insight to help us to do all this. Indeed, Father, give us your wisdom, your help, your insight as you work in me, as you work in my viewer. Just glorify your name in our lives as you walk along this journey of being effective planners in your kingdom to fulfill your purposes in our homes. In Jesus' name, amen. So join me on that journey of meal prepping our breakfasts. Like I mentioned, I always have my menu, and I changed it again for this season because again it depends on your season. Let me also add that just having one meal doesn't mean that's what we will eat necessarily. We will have other things like a fruit or tea or whatever else that we will add. For instance, like at sweet potatoes, when we are having sweet potato and we are not doing something to eat, we are boiling it, I will often add something that will interest the children. Maybe change from the sausage from where I had put it to here, so that they are excited to eat just boiled potato. So we can include something else, but I like to write the main meals so that I know what I am looking at generally when I prepare. So what I'm working on are breakfasts, so that when we start our school program, I don't have to make any prepping of foods in the morning as I cook. So usually, like when I did in the video of Day in Our Life, I mentioned that was unique, but because I usually will not do that. Now that mornings can be quite tricky, you want something just to make very fast, have tea alongside it, and that's it. So that's why I'm going to do some bread, and when I do bread, I'll do 4 times, that is 4 breads at a time. So I'm making about 6 breads so that I have 4, and in case we have a guest, I can always include half of maybe the other 2. I have boiled sweet potatoes, but I'm going to buy more to cover us for the 4 weeks. Of course, Jesus says when you fast, so He expects us to fast. We do this. Our daughters join us in the fast once every month, but the rest of the time they are able to do what they would like, and so usually they will do themselves pancake or kaimati or one of those interesting ones. Then I have arrowroots already covering us for the 4 weeks, and so I don't have to work on this. I have a little cassava also, and I have some boiled green maize that I alternate as well. And remember, like I'm not sure I've mentioned on this channel, but when I write arrowroot, doesn't mean we will eat it boiled. We can eat it, I've only boiled, so we can eat it fried, we can eat it any other different way, just making it creative, including the sweet potato. Then I'm going to do some 6 cakes as well. So if a guest visits, we may usually serve cake because people are usually excited. So that's why I'm also making about 6 cakes. So when I'm training my children on cakes, we also have. So I'll just do about 6 of them. This, of course, we will not do. As you notice, this is a Saturday. That's why I changed this menu here so that we can do either drop scones the first week, pancake, kaimati, any of this. But I'm going to meal prep mandazi because when I have many mandazis, it helps not just for one of the Saturdays, the 4 Saturdays, but it will also help when I have guests and I would want to serve something else and it's extra. And of course, this usually is bread that is store-bought or bought from the duka or the supermarket, because once in a while the children just want bread that is not homemade. So usually this bread is store-bought bread. And of course for the supper, because I'll do another video for the supper, what you can do, I'm only going to prep some pockets because also this saves on time. So basically that's what I'm going to do today. The meal prepping I'll do today. I may or may not do chapati because I tend to do chapatis very fast. So these days I don't meal prep chapati. I just prepare enough for this and lunch. So I may or may not. So that's what we are going to do today. As you notice, all this I'm keeping in the freezer at least up to Friday because they are so easy. You just get them out the night before and in the morning you're ready. If you want to make them differently, you're simply either frying or something, it will be very easy to do that. So that's why I keep these ones here. But you want to look for those kind of meals that will not be very hard to prepare, especially Monday to Friday. Then Saturday you can have, I'm just adding that extra tip, you can do now them a bit more complicated ones that may take time because the children are not in school and they are most likely going to help you as well, or even if they don't, at least you have the time to do it. I have most of my ingredients laid out here, and because banana cake is always a favorite around here, it's going to be one of the cakes. I'm going to do a simple cake that can either be vanilla and lemon cake, and another one. I'm going to try out a new recipe of a cake because sometimes this is how I come up with the recipes for the other channel. When I'm meal prepping or just doing a cake, I want to try it differently, and when it works, then I have the confidence to share it on the other channel. So today I'm going to try out a carrot tea cake, and if it works, you might just see it on the other channel. So let's twende kazi. Now let's get into the tips. Tip number 1, always begin prepping with prayer. There's a way God will give you creativity. God will protect you. God will help you through the process, because remember, you're trying also to do fast so that you can accomplish as much as you can. There's just a way God intervenes and makes the process really wonderful. So you always want to begin with prayer. Tip number 2, always prepare your menu beforehand so that you can know what you need to prepare. Like you saw, it can be quite confusing and overwhelming to know what you need to work on in a particular month. So just working on your menu is so helpful in helping you know how and really what to prepare for your meal prepping in a month. We are done with the banana. This is a new recipe that I'm trying out of banana. If it works out well, I'll share it because I've done it one more time and it was really tasty. But I'll share on the other channel, Recipes and Hospitality with Clara. This is the plain one, again with a new tinge to it. And if it works again, I will share it there. And then of course this is the one I'm trying out of the carrot tea cake that I hope again will work. Somehow these ideas seem to come when you're meal prepping, so seems like they're both new, and yet initially I thought I would only be doing this. So now we've done this, we get them into the oven. Now we get into the bread. Tip number 3, plan beforehand what you will need, so that if you need to get it in the market, please go and get it beforehand. You want to avoid any surprises while in the middle of a meal prep. We are done with working on the bread dough, so I'm just putting cling film around it so that we can get it to proof, and then we get to our next recipe, which is mandazi, and you'll know the kind of mandazi. I'll post it on the next on the other channel, but that's the one we want to do so that it can also get time to relax as we continue with our next set of cakes. Tip number 4, to add on to that one, always shop with your menu in mind to avoid any impulse buying or shopping beyond your means. The next set of cakes is strawberry, because thankfully we have grown some strawberries, and my daughters and I know yours would love strawberry cake. It's on our other channel. I'm also going to do pumpkin tea cake, which is basically the recipe of the pumpkin tea scones on the other channel as well. And we will also do a banana spice cake that is also very tasty and on the other channel. So that's our next set of cakes that we are working on. Tip number 5, aim at preparing healthy, nutritious meals. You notice that as much as I'm doing breads and cakes, I'm putting in carrot, pumpkin, strawberry cake, done. You know, things that I know are healthy, sometimes zucchini, and I will use atta as part of my flour, so that I just don't have the white one. That just makes your meal prepping also healthy, so that you can have nutritious
pumpkin
meals.
Cake, pumpkin tea cake, done.
Tip number 6, aim at being creative in meal prepping, especially where children are concerned. For instance, just putting pumpkin in food rather than serving it like that is a creative way of engaging children.
So our banana spice cake done. Now we are ready to get them to bake. Now we will do the last batch of our bread.
Tip number 7, discourage unnecessary snacking. As you know, children love to snack. They want to get into the fridge or whatever, get what they want, but let them eat at the proper times so that you have their break time snack, their little snack, but discourage unnecessary snacks.
So we are done with the bread, and we will go through the procedure we did with the first. And now we get to making the dough for our samosa pockets. And I think we are doing not too badly.
Yes.
Yeah, because we are about 2 hours or so into this. I'm not sure, but I think we are doing well. So we've done the dough for the samosa, so I'll just cover it with cling film and allow it to rest for at least an hour or so. Then we will come back and work on our pockets. So meanwhile, we get to clear this place and the kitchen a little so that we can now get to working on our mandazi and deep fry it.
Tip number 8, encourage children to eat what is offered before them without complaining. When you help your children to get used to this, appreciating what is offered, you will see them beginning to enjoy their food or appreciate food that they may not like very much, but they will be willing to eat it. I wondered whether to include tip number 9, but I thought, let me just do it. Coming in a moment.
Wow, I am delighted because it's just heading to 8 in the evening, so we need to be getting ready so that we can sleep early. But this is our last one. We want to do our samosa pockets because everything else is cooked. We have been doing well because we started in the afternoon. So for a whole month, basically our breakfast are sorted, at least most of them, probably 85%, because I'll only add the sweet potatoes. Now, this is our samosa pocket, so what we will do is now we will work on this and be done. If you don't have a freezer or you don't fancy it, consider trusting God for one. I did, and it's been such a help in helping me to meal prep and therefore be ready. So what I do, especially if your family doesn't mind frozen food, what I do is I will always mix fresh and freezer food so that we have a taste of both, especially the vegetables and the things I can prepare from scratch. It always helps to mix. The Bible tells us about the ant that it gathers its food in the summer and eats it during the winter. That gives me the conviction that freezing food, which is part of storing food, in order to eat it at a future date, is part of practicing foresight and prudence in planning. Our samosa pockets
done!
And this is the last one.
We are done!
So I will show you what we have done today. Now I thought maybe as we finish, I just share something a little about this pumpkin. We have pumpkins right now. We have harvested them, and when I did some of the recipes with pumpkin, I had this whole one left. And sometimes when you're not ready to use it, because a lot of times I like to use raw grated pumpkin in a lot of my recipes, you can just cut it up. I'm peeling it, cut it up, boil it and mash it and keep it in small portions to use, just in case I need to use, because you can use it to thicken your stews, especially beef, but not too much, because again, if you put too much, you will see from one of our recipes that are linked below, a beef stew where we use it, you just put a little. It makes it really thick and tasty, and so that's what I'll do with it. You can also make pumpkin sauce with it. When you've mashed it, you can make many other things that you can make with pumpkin, the puree, and use it as well. So by extension, or is it by default, I'm also kind of prepping pumpkin, mashed pumpkin as well after boiling it. So we have the mandazi here. Well, this has been eaten quite, but I think about 6 cups. These are the breads. You can see how nice they are looking. These are all 18 cups of bread that I will divide into pieces, like I showed you. And then the cakes. This was the banana, I'm sure probably the banana spice cake, the banana cake, the carrot tea cake that I was trying, the pumpkin tea cake that I was trying, the strawberry one, and right here was the carrot tea cake that I was also trying, and it came out really nicely. So the samosa pockets is so done. This should be about 32 or so, with 3 cups of flour. And then the one I mashed, the pumpkin I mashed, that I'll divide into small pieces and keep for use, or you can just make soup or sauce with it. And then I said I also will have these I had already boiled. This is just a sample of the nduma that is already done. A sample of the sweet potatoes already done, a sample of cassava that we've also eaten quite. You can make them really nicely. They can be quite tasty. I think I need to show a method of doing this on the other channel, but cassava, but I have to buy some more today and boil and keep. So that's basically our preparation for our breakfast. And now we get to packing them up so that we store them in the freezer. Tip number 10, finally, last but not least,
do some research. I have learned a lot by researching, by asking from people. For instance, this looks funny, but I never knew that you can freeze sweet potatoes, you can freeze ndomas or arrowroots, and they'll still be okay. So sometimes just researching how other people are meal prepping can give you lots of ideas to know what to do. And so this is something that I am also continuing to learn as I learn from others. So I'm done packing this in these papers. I found these papers much better because they don't take up a lot of space like the big containers. And usually you can find many of them in a packet, because I used the packet I bought, ordered from Jumia, and I used that packet for this and also for the cereals that I've packed in the freezer. And as you saw, also the ndoma and sweet potatoes, and then I reuse them once I've done and they are not torn. I just wash and dry and keep to reuse. So I also mark, but if you're the kind who knows where you place your things in the freezer, you don't have to mark, because you know where you put your cakes, you put your breads. But also marking helps if you have a guest and you want them to help you. They can also know what it is you've packed in each bag. So you can see I've marked, for instance, banana spice cake, I've marked mandazi, samosa pockets, a strawberry cake, and of course the breads. And I have also packed this, like I said, in small containers, the puree from the pumpkin, because it can also help in some way in your kitchen. So I am going to keep this as well in the freezer, and we will definitely be sorted for our breakfasts. I sincerely pray that you have been blessed by that video. I pray that it was practical for you and just helpful in helping you know what to do as you meal prep, helping you know what to do as you run your household. I am sincerely thankful that you are able to join me today, and I just refer you to this playlist where I have compiled other videos on homeschooling that I pray will be a blessing to you. And linked below is a playlist that I have worked on hospitality, on our other channel of recipes and hospitality with Clara, where I talk about the principles of menu planning, of meal prep planning, of prepping, you know, all those things that surround that I pray will enrich your journey as you also seek to manage your household to the glory of God. So thank you for joining me, and until our next video, bye.